How you doing, everybody? This is this week's episode of the Need to Heat podcast with Jake Lynch.
And Fernando Davila.
This week's episode is going to be on organization and how it prevents procrastination. I believe we've talked about this topic a little bit in prior episodes, but we're going to go a little bit more into depth uh, about us. And obviously, this is Fernando's first week back, so we're really excited about that. Fernando will tell you a little bit about that himself.
Hey guys, it feels great to be back. I was actually out of town for a month or two working, so I had not a lot of time. And Jake was like, "Don't worry, we'll just get some special guests to fill in for you for a couple of podcasts." So it feels great to be back. I'm no longer out of town, so I'll be on the next podcast from now on. Thank you so much, Jake, for filling in. I was actually quite far from here, so yeah, I was working for 3 months up in Ohio. So yeah, it actually fits in a lot with today's episode since I was in school working far from home. So it was a lot different to organize myself and situate myself where I was. So it really does fit into today's episode. And I'm sure Jake has a lot of changes ever since we started these podcasts. So I'm sure he has new techniques and methods of how to organize yourself to prevent procrastination, because honestly, that was a big and still is a big problem for me. Procrastinating. I procrastinate a lot, even though obviously we practice what we teach, but everyone has room for improvement. So procrastinating is one of my big issues that I try to work on a lot. So hopefully this helps a lot of us, including myself.
I certainly think it will, especially for me. We go over a lot of methods on this show and listening to the other podcasts, and there's a lot to pick up and a lot to benefit from. One of the things that we are looking at style-wise for the podcast too is over those last couple episodes when it was me and Jonathan, we had a little bit more of a less structured flow of it. So we're also going to be having a lot more conversation on these shows, and you'll get to hear more about Fernando and I personally, how our New Year's has been, stuff like that, and how we intend to use uh, these these methods and this way of organization a little bit more personally, so you guys can get to know us a little bit better. Uh,
Of
so we're
course,
excited
yeah,
about
it's
that.
something that's going to change a little bit. It's going to be a little, I wouldn't say less formal, but more personal in terms of telling us our experiences a little more and like how we've been lately. So I'm excited to share that with you all.
Yeah. So far, obviously, 2021 has been a little bit of a part two in the last couple of days to 2020. Things have been high in terms of tension and a lot of the things going on, but to move on from the distractions of what is going on, hopefully people start to calm down. But other than that, there are so many things to look forward to this coming year. There's so many opportunities for us to take advantage of as people that are using mindfulness here, and those of you listening to our podcasts and actively enjoying the content that mindFULLme has been putting out. So uh, without further ado, we're going to start talking about school. I think we got a great break. I really took advantage and had the opportunity to plan out what I wanted to do with my upcoming semester. The opportunities I wanted to take advantage of, and really take a break. I know you, on the other hand, you got a little bit of a break here and there, but you know, work was a part of your break. So
No, yeah, I mean, um, the holidays from Christmas till now, I got a big break that I really did need because, like I said, when we started this podcast, I was out of town working. So the purpose of the trip was literally just work. So we were working almost 60 hours a week, still doing full-time school online. So obviously my body was was tipping over in terms of tired and exhaustion. Like I was not getting a lot of sleep, doing a lot of homework and classwork at night, working all day. So I was fortunate enough to come home for the holidays. Obviously, with the pandemic, a lot of people weren't able to be home or with their family. Fortunately for me, I was able to be here, and from Christmas until now, I haven't worked just because obviously a little vacation or just a break doesn't hurt. And school wise, obviously was a big relief to not be doing that right now. So yeah, everyone does need a break at some point, and mine was very useful. Also, like what Jake said, planning out my next semester, planning out my next job, seeing what I do, and so that we stay healthy, stay okay in all senses, and obviously keep up with mindful me, keep up with work, keep up with school. So it's very good to plan and organize in order to stay well in all aspects. Jade, if you want to start by sharing some methods you use to organize yourself, school wise, work wise, social wise, whatever it is that you want to really talk about, or if you want to talk about the holidays first, whatever you want, really.
Yeah, so what I was going to mention, and I think something that I have preached on and off through our run here on Need to Heat is really being able to visualize and come up with something tangible of what's going on in your future. There's only so much you can do to plan the future, but there are little hints that you have, such things as due dates, deadlines, things like that, things that you have to do. And uh, if you're able to plan your life around the things that you have to do, it makes it far less stressful to enjoy the moments when there isn't something that needs to be done. That you're that. So for me, for instance, one of the things that I'm looking forward to this semester is an opportunity to start writing for UF student paper. It's called The Alligator. And uh, one of the things that I need to accomplish is I need to be able to stay in contact with my professors that would be able to help me get involved in that, also networking with other people. And that's something that I have to do. And being able to write that down somewhere, make sure that that is somewhere that I'm seeing it over and over again, being able to remember my goals, it's going to make it a whole lot easier to battle, one, forgetfulness, and two, to be able to push myself a little bit harder when it comes to what I need to get done. So hopefully I get to explore more of those options. I get to go and write for this paper, write for a school that I love, and it will make everything less stressful once I know what I need done. If you need to go find more information about what the deadlines are, then obviously the best thing to do is to get it done right away. Just not pushing it off, and making sure that you can look at a list or you can look at a calendar wherever you find yourself looking the most. For me, I have a calendar on my desk at school, and I write out everything that's due in the next month. I write out the whole month, and that sounds like a lot, but once you write it down, you start to realize how manageable most of your tasks are and what's going up. And it definitely helps when dealing with the uncertainties, because so many things that you want to happen might not happen, but at least you can control what you can control, which is a big thing of leveling off that stress and helping with that procrastination.
Of course, and actually, that's something that I don't personally do as much of as I should in terms of planning out a whole month ahead of time. I didn't do that, and I didn't do that for the last semester completely, just because it was a very hectic time. I started a job from literally one day to the next, and left the state for that, so it was very like a change of plans. And of course, being online still, Jade, I'm sure you're still online on most of your classes.
Hmm.
It does give you a lot of freedom time wise, but it also there's pros and cons to that, because although you get the freedom of choosing almost when to do assignments, or like having more time to do the assignment and more time to get the lesson in, since you're pretty much doing it on your own time, it's great because you have more time to do other things if you plan accordingly. But it's also bad because it gives you the opportunity to procrastinate, which is something I faced last semester a lot. um just waiting till the last minute. I'm sure that's happened to you a couple of times, Jake.
Yeah, of course.
But it was difficult in the sense of managing your time wisely and planning ahead, like you said, a month ahead of time. If I was to have done that, I'm sure it would have been a lot simpler to get stuff done, and a lot more convenient, obviously. But in my case, what I did, since my classes were online, I had different times of lectures, different TAs, office hours. What helped me a lot, since I was always doing something in terms of either work or going to get something done, whatever it was, I wasn't always home. I wasn't always at my desk. So it was a lot more convenient for me personally to actually have reminders on my phones, or even alarms on my phone, 10, 15, 20 minutes even before my class, and just label them all, what it is, what's due. Obviously, go in and edit them weekly to see what's due this day, what's due that day, what I should have done, and stuff like that. It did help me a lot, even though I did procrastinate a bit and had a couple of all nighters pulled in order to get stuff done. At the end of the day, it was done, but obviously the pressure of that, the stress in that, wasn't very mindful in the sense of I could have prevented it all being more organized. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, another thing too, I think that is kind of underplayed as a reason why we procrastinate sometimes is sometimes we push things off because we convince ourselves we don't know enough to get started. Like we're afraid of the failure. And one of the one of the easiest ways to avoid that is to not be afraid of asking questions, like being in class, making sure that you're organized in your notes enough to know what you need to know. And I think that's very underrated when it comes to getting started. You're not going to get started if you're afraid to start, and if you're afraid that once you start that you're going to be doing a poor job. And when it comes to classes and everything where you have an assignment, it's important to make sure that you give yourself no excuses to not start. You need to have everything aligned, and everything in question should be answered by a certain point with whatever assignment or whatever duty that you find yourself facing at the time.
No, of course. And through personal experience, something I can share with you guys is, even another thing besides fear is overconfidence. And I'm not saying it's bad to be overconfident. Obviously, believe in yourself, and you'll accomplish almost anything you want. But for example, for me, sometimes I'd be like, okay, the assignment's due at midnight. It only takes me an hour to do it. I know I can get it done in an hour. So let me start an hour before it's due. And that is by far the worst thing you can do, just because it might take you an hour, but you don't plan for complications. You don't plan for malfunctions. You don't plan for your Wi-Fi to go out, or for your computer to glitch, or for your what you thought was somewhere isn't there anymore, so you have to look for it, or whatever it is. You don't plan for that type of stuff. And trust me, it feels so good to have something done ahead of time and then not even have to worry about it on the due date. Jake, you're better than me at this in terms of getting things done before they're due. But for me, that's a big problem. And I saw that a lot last semester, especially because of work and stuff. I was just like, no, I'm super tired today. I'll get it done the day it's due. And that's definitely not a good strategy to use, nor is it convenient at all. So organizing yourself in terms of, even though it's due on Friday, it's due for me mentally on Thursday or even Wednesday, so that if a complication does come, you do have time to, fix it, get it done either way, and do just as well as you would have without the pressure.
Definitely. I mean, just as a large part of what you're going to be doing going forward, it's just sometimes we get caught up and we get screwed over on the easy assignments. Like you just said, oh, it's only going to take me an hour. So it's the easy stuff that we push to the last effort or the last thing in the night. If you have multiple assignments due in one day, you push the easiest thing for last, and that ends up being the assignment that pushes you over the edge the wrong way. You're going and you get this big assignment done from one class, and you had a really good grade in this other class because you felt like it was easy, you're on a roll, everything's getting done, and you pushed that one easy thing that you could have gotten done very early on, very quickly. But all of a sudden now that one easy thing, the thing that you could have done so easily, is your Achilles heel. It's the one thing making you fail,
Yeah.
and
Or maybe
you had
not even
just
fail, but
accomplished.
it's maybe not even fail, but it's what gives you the 89 rather than the 90 that you wanted. So obviously, even however small it is, however easy it might seem to be, don't be overconfident in yourself in terms of thinking, oh, it's only gonna be this long, it's only gonna be this. Like prepare for the worst. Obviously, always a big quote that I go by is hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Hmm.
Like obviously we're all hoping that everything goes smoothly. I'll be done within even 45 minutes rather than an hour. But you never know what can happen, and that can cause that hour to be 2 hours. And you really don't know what to do because, something that you thought was super easy now is giving you the most trouble and is what's gonna make or break your grade.
Yeah, exactly. Difference between, especially in college, um, where percentages actually start to come into play. I mean, in high school for us, it was very cut and dry. Once you're over a 90, it's an A. Every A is the same, or every type of B in the 80 percentiles is a B. But in college, they start doing these A minuses,
Of
and B
course.
pluses versus B's and B minuses, and they're all different towards your GPA. And you could have easily had the regular A, you could add, or an A minus, and instead your GPA is getting lowered because you were treating this one assignment like you were treating this one assignment less than the others, and all of a sudden you're being hurt ever so slightly, but just enough for it to reflect on you. That people are going to be seeing this GPA when you go and you apply for things, and especially while still in college. And it will be because you just treated that one assignment a little bit less than everything else.
Of course. But without further ado, uh, I think to summarize really what we're trying to say in this entire podcast, the general main idea, what we want you to really take from it is organizing yourself. And obviously, every person is different. Some things work for some people, some things don't work. Jake is more of a physical. I need my desk, I need my laptop in front of me, I need my calendar ready. I'm more of, all right, as long as my phone tells me I need to do this at this time, I'll be fine. So obviously we do have different methods to organizing, which is perfectly fine. Just having something that works for you is very important, especially once you're more of working, school, social life, managing mindful me, doing everything does take up time, and if you don't manage it correctly, you're gonna be stressing, which is never good for anyone. So what we're saying is once you organize yourself in a way that fits you and always just improving it in little ways, it helps you tremendously. And it's what really does give you that ease that releases that pressure from you and really does help your mind, body, everything. So, and the procrastination comes in because that's one of the main stressors, at least for me, Jake. I'm not sure about you, but one of the main stressors for me is procrastinating, having that pressure of, am I going to get this done? Will I be finished on time? Will I fail this, or will I not make it to work on time because I took 20 extra minutes on my homework? You know what I mean? Like it's little things that if you didn't procrastinate would just make your day and life so much smoother.
Yeah, of course. And another question when you're finally submitting it is, could I have done a better job if I had just started earlier? Like, am I getting the best grade I could have gotten right now by just finishing it? That type of stuff.
So yeah,
And
organization is just a key in everyday life, not just in school. We obviously mention school because that's the main thing that we organize ourselves around, given our age, given what we're doing, our current moment in life. But with everything, with work even, am I working too much? Am I not working enough? Can I do more? Should I be doing more? Am I making my skills valued, or am I getting underpaid, or do I should I take a vacation? Stuff like that. Everything in life needs organization.
of course, I mean, even the littlest things. I mean, if you're a listener and uh, you're too young to understand some of the work concepts, I mean, you could apply the same things to chores. You could
Exactly.
apply the same things to just homework, just the little things that are going on in your life that you're stressing about. Just being able to list those things out, or to be able to remind yourself frequently about them, you're more likely to get it done in a timely fashion.
Of course. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like we always say, please, if you have any suggestions, ideas, wants, just let us know in the comments. We always do want to hear feedback from you guys because obviously it's what gives us inspiration to continue podcasts, gives us ideas to, future ideas. But we hope that you all had a great New Year's, great holiday season. No matter what it is that you celebrate, we hope you had a great time. Hopefully, you got to spend as much time with family as possible given the circumstances. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. This was the Need to Heat podcast with Fernando Davila, and
Jake Lynch.
hopefully, we'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.
Bye.